done, Richard Withers. You've beat me to it. Could I ask all of you to go down to the chat box? When you hit that chat box, click on it and put in a message there telling us who you are and what club that you're from. It's really important if you could do that for us. So your name and your club in the chat. Everyone will be on mute throughout the session unless you're invited in to speak for whatever reason. Some of the questions will be dealt with by me, transferring them over to Sue, and then maybe later on, if we have time, we can have people ask questions over the air. Please respect everybody's opinion and please mind your language in the chat. And finally, of course, there is Paul's rule. Paul's rule, basically that means that if you're in the house on your own at the moment, what we would appreciate is if you could send us your address and an emergency contact number. We do ask this for a really good reason. I'm sure most of you will know that reason by now. It's called Paul's Rule. It's been adopted throughout RIBI. So if you are in your house on your own, in case anything happens, we can sort something out. So if you want to do that privately to me, by all means do, or you can put it in the chat. That's it for the time being. It's over to Sue. Enjoy the session.
Hello, everyone. Can they all hear me, Steve?
They can.
Hello, my name's Sue Wilson. I'm the community team leader for this year, and I'll be carrying on being community team leader for next year. I've met lots of people since I've been on the district team, but for those that don't know me, I've been a founder member of the Rotary Club of Ormskirk Clock Tower. I was president 2 years ago. I did a district job of equality and diversity first, and then I was asked if I would take over this role, and I'm very pleased to be doing it. I have a small team, and we're expanding the team this year. My own club, the Rotary Club of Ormskirk Clock Tower, is relatively new, as I say, only 11 years old. We have got 52 members, which is pretty good in District 1180. Like everyone, we have some members that do more and some members that do less. When I was thinking about what to talk to you all about this evening, it was very difficult for me to decide, do you want to know a lot of theory? Do you want to know practical stuff? And I thought I would tell you that if you want to know the theory, then you can look on the all the RIBI websites. You can log in as a member, as you all know how to, and looking at the learning. I've done quite a few of the seminars, but there's lots of information there. There's lots of information that you can learn from. So I'm not going to tell you about the theory tonight. I don't want you going away thinking that all I'm talking about is my own club, but obviously examples are easier for me if they are my own club. So bear with me as far as that's concerned. Lots of clubs work very differently. So if I say something that doesn't apply to your club, I'm sorry. We've got clubs that have been very traditional and they work with committee chairs, and at the beginning of the year they plan their community work. We've got other clubs that in fact just work as they go along. So bear with me if I'm not quite saying things that don't apply to your club. Okay, these are what I see as my responsibilities as community team leader. You may or may not agree with them, but these are the ones I've come up with as the ones I think are appropriate. So it's to support local humanitarian endeavours undertaken by districts clubs. So wherever you need any support, I can put you in touch hopefully with another club who've done something similar, or I can try and help myself. I'd like to think I'm here to inspire fellow Rotarians to undertake innovative approaches and to addressing community issues. Basically, ever since I started being in the Rotary Club of Ormskirk Clock Tower, I've done community work. I would say all my fellow Rotarians from my own club would say that was what I'm known for. So I have some experience of that. I want to encourage the sharing of service-related resources between clubs. It's my feeling that there's a lot of good work going on out there, but people don't always know what one club is doing and what another club is doing. So I would encourage the sharing of that information. I'd like to publicise service and fellowships and initiatives undertaken by clubs in the district. It's important that we tell the world, the non-Rotarians, what we're doing, because we're doing so much good stuff, but it isn't always out there. And I want to assist in realising the incoming district governor's challenge. All your club presidents will know that David Hartley, when he's coming in, has given, amongst other things, a challenge to club presidents, and the challenge is relating to their community work. So I'm going to ask him to tell you a little bit more about that, but you'll see that the last bullet point on that slide is, most importantly, I want to be here for you. I'm here at the end of a phone. So anybody with any question, email me, all the details that are on the last slide of the video, and let me know. You can answer questions, ask me questions, and I'll do my best to answer. Okay, so I would like to admit, demute or unmute, whatever the right word. Oh, David, you are unmuted. I can hear you laughing.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you want to tell everybody, you'll see on the screen that it's, I've got a copy of your challenge and a lovely photograph of you looking very smart. So tell them about it.
Complete with beard as well.
Yeah, it's an old
Clean
one.
shaven now, I'm afraid. Yes, I came across this this challenge from, I won't say the name of the district because it doesn't mean a thing to anybody else, from Yorkshire. Is a past district governor, and he set these challenges in his district, and it got clubs out into the community, which is ideally what I want, because to me community matters, and I'm taking this as my theme for the whole year, because community really does matter, and if we can get ourselves out into the community, then all well and good. The repercussions from being visible in your community. Collaborate with other organisations. I don't mean go out necessarily yourself, because I recognise the age demographic of Rotary in 1180. But there's no reason we can't join forces with other organisations. If you can get out, then ideally I'd like a couple of new initiatives within your community. I've already given one example at Assembly from David Ellis, the incoming chair of Rotary in Great Britain and Ireland, with the wrap-up. If clubs in an area can collaborate together, this will make it less expensive for them. So there is one challenge for you that I've given you on a plate, really. But I want you to come up with innovative ideas to make a difference within your community. So that is my ideal for the coming year. Thanks, Sue.
Thank you, David. So can we move on to another word, and that is humanitarian service. You will possibly have read the article that I wrote in the District Magazine about the move from RIBI and RI into humanitarian service. And I think a lot of people will be thinking, well, what's that about? What's humanitarian service? As I see it, it's a less siloed approach to the work we do with Rotary in our clubs. So if you have a very separate way of working, if you have committees for each of the different functions, then you might like to think about moving them all a little bit closer, or at least telling each other a bit more about what you do. Some clubs are quite siloed in their approach, and I'd like to see that to be a bit less evident if possible, because I think it'll make for a better running of work, of community work. International Foundation, youth, community, public image and membership are all should be working together, and everybody should have in mind what the other one is doing. And I thought to myself, well, what's an example of this? And I came up with the End Polio Now stuff. So obviously there are no people, no victims of polio any longer in this country. So when we are raising money, we are raising money for this to be eradicated in countries of the world less fortunate than us, less developed, needing help. So the money that we raise, and I've recently heard a talk from Tony, the polio representative of district. We should all, if we can, be raising about the equivalent of $40 per member, per person, for End Polio Now. If we were to do that, then we'd be achieving what we needed to achieve. But how is that also replicated with other parts of our work? We can sell crocus planting kits. You'll see a picture of the Ormskirk Clock Tower crocus planting kits. The little plant pot with some corms and some compost and a little bit about End Polio Now and a label that we stuck on the pots. We sold those, we made money. People lit buildings purple for polio. So obviously that was something in our community. We altered crocus corms. I've read about, people did purple gin, purple ice cream. So all sorts of innovative approaches to get the word out there. And I thought, well, that's really humanitarian service. The other example I would have is the fact that recently my club led a team going to Uganda out there. And in fact, James, who's helping move this call tonight, was one of the people that went. And they took some feminine hygiene products that were needed out there. We'd been told from a previous team that had gone that it was a desperate need. So in my community, we had 2 sewing days. We made the products. They took them out to Uganda. I fed back to all the sewers that had helped me. And so we had local people in my community helping our world community. And I think that's really what all humanitarian service is. It's about being a humanitarian. So my personal experience as a member of Ormskirk Clock Tower. So gaining an in-depth knowledge of the community created a firm and enduring mutually beneficial partnerships. Back to my old lawyer days, that's awfully wordy. But basically it's about getting to know your community. Now on the Rotary websites, there's all sorts of suggestions. There's about community meetings, doing a survey, all of that. But I think that if you read your local paper and you join some Facebook community groups, you'll see what is necessary within your own community. An example that we have is an organisation we've worked with since virtually the start of Clock Tower's existence, is a place called the Birchwood Centre. You'll see that in my third point there. Also sewing rooms and menaces, we've also worked with them. But the Birchwood Centre, for my club, I am the liaison. So I'm the person who keeps in touch sort of on a day-to-day basis. And I think that this relationship we've built up with this particular charity has enabled us to be more responsive and be helpful to that charity. We haven't had to look round when the COVID problem arose as to what we can do in our community. Because we were already working with several charities, we could make a couple of calls and they said, this is what we need. And we trusted them and they trust us. And we don't promise, to donate thousands of pounds to them because we can't do that. But we can offer them practical support all the time. The Birchwood Centre was originally, when we knew it, a centre for 16 to 23-year-olds who were homeless or in danger of being homeless. In Skelmersdale, before this was set up, young people were sleeping under bridges, the police were bringing them in, and it was a real need. So they set up the Birchwood Centre really to house young people that were homeless. As time's gone on, the charity's become bigger, they've taken on more contracts. They now employ the local Syrian support worker. So by working with the Birchwood Centre and by understanding their work, we can help Syrian refugees, who every single one, and they are desperately in need of help. We can also help they contacted us about 4 years ago to say, we think there's a need for some emergency accommodation. And so we help them with that. We give them move-on boxes when the young people move out to independent living. They're often not in contact with their parents. So, like when my children went to university, we gave them, you know, pans and an iron and all that to take. They have nobody to help them, so we give them a box with a card that says "Good luck in your new home." And we got that idea from Shelterbox. So building up a relationship with a charity in your community, I'd say, is very, very rewarding on both sides. Sewing rooms, if you've watched David's film that he showed in his president's address, you'll see that we did a DIY SOS in the sewing rooms. I'm now going to show you a film, it's very short, but the message in that is from Stella Connell, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Birchwood Centre. And I thought, I'm going to ask you to tell my friends, my fellow Rotarians, what you think about the relationship, what it's done for the charity. So have a listen.
Hi, I'm Stella Connell. I'm the Chief Executive of the Birchwood Charity, and we're a charity based in Skelmersdale and deliver services across West Lancashire. We provide a range of services for individuals who are struggling to cope with life, often find life very hard and very difficult. What makes us different as a charity is the relationships that we develop with businesses, with organisations and with clubs and individuals. And for me, that is where our relationship with Rotary Club of Ormskirk Clock Tower absolutely shines out and is for me the gold standard of what a relationship should be like. And the key to this relationship and the success is the fact that Rotary Ormskirk Clock Tower have taken the time to get to know Birchwood. They really understand on a deep level the work we do and they're committed to the work we do. Ormskirk Clock Rotary have helped us in so many ways. They have helped with providing welcome boxes, move-on boxes for individuals who move into our accommodation and move out of our accommodation. They've helped with gifts at Christmas, they've provided young people with financial advice. So for me personally, I've benefited from some of the superb expertise and knowledge that members of the club have. I feel that the club are committed to our work. As I said, they understand our work. I feel that they're always at the end of a telephone if we ever need them. A shining example of that for me is our latest project, and that is a response to the COVID pandemic. We knew as a charity that we really needed to respond to that crisis, and we knew we had to act quickly, and we did act quickly, and we started to deliver critical food hampers, pick up medications, and also deliver emotional and welfare support to people. The first organisation, club, who validated that project for us was Ormskirk Clock Tower Rotary. But not only did they support that project financially, they accessed funding for some toys, brand new toys, and they gave them to Birchwood to distribute it around the community. The feedback we had was absolutely tremendous. And again, that shows the relationship, the trusting relationship that we do have. What I would like to say, because I don't say it often enough, is that I really want to thank Ormskirk Clock Tower Rotary, because you help us make a difference to people's lives. You believe in our charity, you're always on the end of the phone and you support us. So thank you for all that you do.
So I didn't write her speech for her. She said all of those things herself when I asked her. But I wanted to sort of expand a bit about what she said. So if you're a club that hasn't got necessarily lots and lots of money to hand out, and some clubs don't have that, what you do have is the resources of your members. And so when we became aware that some of the residents at the homeless centre were very stressed, we have an occupational therapist that is a member of our club. So we gave them some relaxation lessons. When we found out that some of them were interested in cooking, we have a member, Anita, who has just come back from the Australian trip. She's a fantastic cook. She went in and taught some Indian cookery. When she was actually at the session, some of the young people, she's Indian, were quite inappropriate in the way they spoke to her from an equality and diversity perspective. She didn't challenge it because they're quite young and they should have known better, but they didn't. But we came away. One of our members, who's a solicitor, they offered to go into the centre and do some work teaching the young people about equality and diversity. Now, they could have never afforded the level of training they received from solicitors firm equality and diversity training, but they gave their time free because we asked them to and because they trusted them. One of our members is a mentor, a management mentor, and she helped Stella personally, and she would admit she had some sort of counselling and mentoring through her to be a better leader through that. We have an accountant. One of the young people got into debt and had a terrible tax problem. And Stella rang me up. She said, we've tried to sort this chap out. He's nearly suicidal over this. Well, one of our members who's an accountant called on our way home, sat with him, went through it all. We've done mock interviews. You know, the amount of stuff we've done with Birchwood is unbelievable. And every single member who's taken part in it has really enjoyed it. So examples of projects in District 1180. I think I'm increasingly coming to the view that if we're doing fundraising, we probably need to target non-Rotarians, because what happens is you've forever got your hand in your pocket going to somebody's wine tasting or quiz or whatever, and it's important that we try and fundraise from the public. It's a good opportunity to meet members of the public as well. I said before we have 52 members, but the last few members that we've had in, one of them met two of my friends from Clock Tower when they were selling chicks at a local supermarket. He said, oh, I've been thinking about Rotary for a while. I used to be in Round Table. And they said, oh, come along. And now he's a member. He's a fairly new member. And he's recently taken on the job of doing shelter pots for district. So, you know, that was one of the things we did standing in a supermarket. He came along, we were friendly, and, you know, that was a good way to get membership. So that's why I'm saying with a less siloed approach, every time you're out in the community, you're meeting potential new members. It's a great opportunity to engage with youth and schools. You'll hear a minute about the Clock Tower Chick project after we've heard from Royden Revolve, but that was a project where we started to engage with youths and schools as a result of that community project. And it's a good opportunity to celebrate the public image of your club. Those of you who sat through my session last year will have heard me say, I really think that check handover photographs are not the best way to show the public image of Rotary. And so what we've got in our local papers are photographs of us with the Birchwood kids, us, you know, handing out food parcels, all of that. And it's a much better form of celebration of Rotary.
So it might be a good opportunity to jump in.
This might, yeah, can we pause? I've got a very,
Go on, you carry on.
Oh, I've got my very glamorous assistant, better known as my husband, here to help me. Thank you. Is that?
You can stop. That stopped for a
Is
moment.
that okay? It stopped for a moment. Yeah. Okay. Fire away.
I was just going to say, Sue, we've got a few questions that have come in, and it was just really to catch up in case we get too many. Maria Martin says, what is the best way to share resources and ideas? But actually, during the chat, a few people have answered that question. We've, in response to Maria's question, David Hartley says he's asked for a revamp of Flash and hopes this will be a good platform to share ideas. James Thomas says the Rotary Showcase is a really good way to share ideas. And in fact, James has put in a link in the chat. If you're curious, if you want to find out about different types of things that you can get involved in other words, steal other people's ideas, go onto the Rotary Showcase, because there are thousands and thousands of different Rotary projects on there that you can copy. The Community Action Facebook site for our district, the 1180 Community Facebook page. There are various places where you can get these bits and pieces. Valerie has asked, there's likely to be more need than ever. What advice do you have on finding out what assets our community has so that we can prioritise needs, contacts with the local authorities or other voluntary groups? Have you got a view on that, Sue? How did you get to know about your...
Well, if you build a relationship with a charity as we do, that they're in all those groups anyway. So obviously things like your local domestic violence refuge, Age UK, all the local charities, if you contact them and speak to them, get an appointment or chat to them, you'll find out what projects they're working in and where you can sort of fit in. We've got this thing called the Small Grants Project. So we set aside £1,000 and we've got an application form and anybody can apply for a sum of money up to £100. And that gets us some information. People come to us actually, I think.
Yeah, good stuff. And I'd just like, somebody has already mentioned this here about the Facebook page. The community Facebook page is really good. It's really well policed and there's some really good stuff on there. People have now started to share their ideas and their action shots of Rotary in the community. So that's a really good way of doing it. Peter Dopp has asked, where can I get details of the DG Community Challenge? Every president has got a copy of that in his or her president's pack for next year. Jane Wedley has put a note on here. Wrexham Rotary involved in a project during COVID-19 which delivers food to 100 houses, supporting 200 to 300 people. Tesco's, Nando's and a local cheese factory are all helping Rotary. I think this goes back, doesn't it, Sue, to get out there and be nosy and ask people and ask them if they want help. And I think that's great. Somebody's asked, what is Flash? Flash is a monthly publication that comes out with bits and pieces that are going on in the district, and that's come from somebody at Weaver Valley Rotary Club, and they're not yet chartered, so they probably haven't got a copy of it yet. I'm sure we can arrange that for you. That's from Carol Hickson. I think that's it for now, Sue.
Well, David wants to say something.
All right, come on, David.
Dare he?
James has christened me the man with crazy ideas, which I find quite a compliment, actually. Many people will know that I own a post office. And the other day, this teacher came in with 12 large letter envelopes that they were posting to children who don't have computers. Now, in the past, I know Rotary has supplied reconditioned, redundant computers to the third world children, and I thought, we have children in our communities who don't have a computer. I realise that they will also need the internet connection as well. But while this crisis is going on, they're receiving less and less schooling, these children. So I thought what I could do about this. And I actually wrote to the Chief Executive of Post Office Limited and included Amanda Watkin as General Secretary, Donna as the current president, and Tom as the incoming president. They're actually talking with the head of corporate social responsibility for Post Office to see if this can progress, because there are children in our, like I said, in our communities that do not have computers, and the government have recognised already that these children have lost at least 7 full days of schooling while this crisis has been on. Surely, if RIBI can't do it, we can. There are corporate bodies out there that have all these computers that are redundant. If anybody knows anything like this, then please let me know, and we'll try and roll it out in 1180 to start with. I've only just come up with this idea. So I mentioned it the other day to you, but I really feel so strongly about this because kids are our future and they should be looked after, no matter what background they come from. And these are underprivileged kids without a computer. I then saw one of my granddaughters with one of their many computers in the family, having schooling online, screeching in delight at seeing her classmates that she hasn't seen for the last couple of months. So she's not missing out, but these other kids are. So have a think about that, will you please?
Okay, Steve, over to you.
Shall we move back to watch the next little video? Is that
Yeah.
with,
Yeah, that's where we're up to.
yeah, Royden Revolve's cozy coffee cozy project. I hope little.
Yeah.
Frozen, I think, because
We stopped it.
If you go back a slide and then go forward again, should fix it.
it won't let us go back a slide.
It's frozen.
Go forward and then back then.
It's frozen.
It's frozen.
Yeah.
Is it not responding in the tab?
Well, here we go.
Oh, there we go.
That's-
No, that's it, because it's
yeah,
like that for a moment.
I think it's like this for a moment. So. Just made it there we go. Sorry, I've got that yellow coffee cozy in your face for a few minutes. Here we go. Chris Hopewell.
Hi, my name's Chris Hopewell and I'm from Royden Revolve Rotary Club, currently president of Royden Revolve. And today I'm going to be talking about the Coffee Cozy project that we run every year. So how did it start? Well, one of our members of Royden Revolve, Kirsty Cotton, she saw the coffee cozies and how they were being made, and she got the design and made some herself. And then from there, brought it to the meeting and showed how they were. And we could see the potential. We could see the potential in how they could be used, and how at a £5 price point with a cup from Starbucks, it would be a great Secret Santa gift. So for those people who don't interact with Rotary, we could potentially sell them something. So from that different customer base, we then started looking at where we could sell the coffee cozies. We had the concept, we had the cozy, and we also needed the partner. So we looked at just asking. So I happened to be in Starbucks one day, and I spoke to one of the managers, the Starbucks in New Brighton. Spoke to the manager, told the manager that we were raising money for Clare House with the cozies, and one of the key things was that we were raising funds for an organisation that was close to people's heart and they know about. So because it was for Clare House, she was very keen to help and support. And then from that store that we then got others. We grew in year one from having 3 stores and selling a modest amount. In year 2, we progressed because we approached another Starbucks store, and then from that store, they gave us the whole Liverpool cluster. And that was the year before last. And then from the Liverpool cluster, where we sold on average £100 worth of cozies per store, we then gained 15 stores. So it grew last year to having 15 stores across the whole Northwest. So what are the problems that we've had? with the barriers. So the problems that we've had are probably we couldn't knit enough. So we've had quality control problems. We've had lots of volunteers wanting to knit for us, but because it had to be a specific specification, unfortunately, the amount of knitters that were able to deliver to the amount that we needed at the quality that we needed was just quite small. That knock-on effect is that the stock that we needed wasn't quite enough. So this year we sold out very early and we didn't actually have enough, and we had potential to sell a lot more. And the other thing is, and sadly this is something that I was a little bit disappointed with, some of the social media marketing that we had, actually some fellow Rotarians actually questioned us using Starbucks as a partner for this because of their reputation with regards to tax. And that was actually disappointing, considering that we were trying to do something really good. Starbucks were trying to help and support us, and we were actually going out to a different catchment. And sometimes we need to bear that in mind when we're potentially commenting on things with our own particular opinions, when actually Starbucks were helping and supporting us, helping spread the word of Rotary, but also helping us raise funds for Clare House, which was at the core of what we were trying to achieve. To build upon it and maintain our relationships, one of the store managers really wants us to help us go a little bit more further wide again. So the manager of the Starbucks in Chester Greyhound, and he wants to support us to build even more stores that we can supply. In addition to that, he also wants to help us with other projects. So the stepping stones of this is, whilst we've started with the concept of the coffee cozy and building and support and raising funds for Clare House, we've managed to stretch the reach of the name of Rotary out across the whole of the Northwest through our friendship and partnership with those Starbucks stores. But now he wants to support us with other projects that we might be having. Also, what we need to do, build upon from last year, is build our stock levels so that we can ensure that we can deliver extra stock and create extra revenue for the charity that we're raising funds for. You know, we need to consolidate on the relationships and continue to build and thrive, and potentially share the relationship with other stores. With other clubs, that we can then maybe utilise that partnership that we build for a Rotary club that's close to that particular store. Because, I mean, in my local area, I've gone and had free coffee tastings with cake, and actually had an event that they've been happy to support. So fostering those relationships with different stakeholders can really help build a project that is a little bit different to what we normally do. And it all started just by asking, would you be willing to sell this? And then it moved from one stepping stone to another and built into a nice cluster of stores. We've got 15 across the Northwest that support us.
I hope you agree with me. That's a really different project, and something that I think other clubs could do. Just think of something different, and have a go, because they've managed, as you've heard from Chris, they've managed to sort of extend from one year to the next. And him and I have spoken. It might reach a point that they're saturated selling coffee cozies around Chester, but are they saturated maybe on the Wirral? Are they in Ormskirk, where I live? Maybe we could get some introductions from store managers in one place to store managers in another place, and it could even spread to something national, let's face it. And they've made quite a bit of money. I must admit, I didn't ask how much, but they've made quite a bit of money for a fantastic cause. Clare House is a fantastic cause. The next film I'm going to show you is a fellow member of my Rotary Club. Sorry. No, Steve's managing that. Okay. Sorry, my husband. I'm just going to show you another film of another project. This is another clock tower one, but it's a knitting project. And before we start, I can tell you that over the years we've been running this, well, actually, this is a guess. I know how much money we've raised. So in the chat, you can all guess while the film's going on, and I'll tell you the answer at the end.
Hi, my name's Ange Redwood and I'm a member of Ormskirk Clock Tower Rotary Club. The chick project was my idea back in 2012. My friend's mum had knitted a few chicks to sell for a charity at Alder Hay, and I thought, oh, that looks the type of thing that Rotary could take on, because I knew there were a few knitters within the club. Never in a million years did I imagine that it would take off like it has done. The very first year we knitted the chicks ourselves within the club. We even got the men involved and had a knitting morning. And I remember my husband coming back being ever so proud of the chick that he'd knitted, his very first attempt at knitting. It was quite holy, and I don't mean it was sacred, and a little bit of a mess. But his boss that year went and actually bought the chick for £50, knowing that all the money raised was going to Alder Hay. So there was a good outcome in the end. Over the years, we've managed to recruit quite a lot of knitters just from the community, be they friends, family, friends of friends. We've got quite a little army going, and every year they very kindly knit chicks for us. Our most prolific knitter is a lady called Sheila, and she, for the last few years, has knitted over 1,000 chicks each year and donated them to us. We've got another lady called Pam, and she's also knitted things at Christmas for us, and this year she's knitted little dolls as well as some chicks. One of the biggest money raisers each year is when we have a chick stall at one of the local supermarkets. Over the years we've sold at Morrison's, Asda, and now we sell at Booths and Burscough. And it's nice actually just having contact with the local community, and it's a good advert for Rotary as well when we do the chick stalls, as well as raising a few £100 each day that we do the chick stalls. We've also customised our chicks. I know a lot of charities in the local area do sell chicks as well, but Lisa, one of our members, who'll be chatting to you later, she came up with the idea of tufting chicks, which is the little hairstyle that they have. So our chicks are unique. I think it's really nice actually giving the chicks their own personality, because they come in like this from our knitters. Some of them aren't even sewn up, and it's like Blue Peter before and after. So they are really quite cute, aren't they? And we've also had requests over the years for customised chicks. I remember Jen having a request for a Rastafarian chick. She's another member of ours. So when I was going to Jamaica, my friend actually made me this Rastafarian chick, which I'll never sell. I think he's cute. And also, because there's lots of very keen football supporters in the area, we also do some Everton chicks and Liverpool chicks for people. So that's all my little spiel anyway. Okay, bye-bye.
So that's my friend Ange telling you about our chick project. So has anybody put, Steve, in the chat how much money Clock Tower have raised with this?
They haven't, no. They haven't on that particular one. There's been, just to catch up, there's been quite a lot of stuff around the computers. There was a lot of stuff there, and people are kind of chatting to each other and saying how it's done. But the strong feeling is that, yeah, you know, we do sell them to Africa, but we should look after our own here. There's been suggestions about how we can approach local companies. There's a question about the internet. How do we get the internet? I know that David's actually spoken to the post office, and they're working on getting 6 months free internet for children in need. And yeah, there's certainly, but there's nothing come up. Oh, hang on. Anne Wells has said £1,000. I'm not quite sure what that's in relation to. It might be.
We've actually raised £21,500.
£21,500.
£1,000 we've raised by selling those chicks. And I think that's an amazing amount. But there is so much more to it, because we've now got, Ange referred to the army of knitters. We've got lots of lonely people that we provide kits to, provide wool to. We've done some work with the Cubs, teaching them how to knit, and they've made some chicks. So it's led on to lots of other things. We have a tea party every year to thank the people that knit for us. And it struck me that that project is a little bit similar to the Royden Revolve one. And had we had the opportunity to share with each other, I know one is coffee cozies knitted and one is chicks knitted, but you know, we've nearly saturated the market round here. We could do a little swap just by sharing the information with each other.
Yeah, I think that's sharing ideas is definitely a theme this evening. Somebody has just asked though, Sue, how much were the chicks sold for? That's probably quite. At
the beginning, £1.50, and for the last 2 years, £2. This year, in fact, it all went wrong. We've buy them 2 for 1 from Tesco's, and we bought them before lockdown, and we've in fact given them all away. We've given them to NHS staff, we've given them to fire service, bin men, because nursing homes, because we had them in stock ready to sell, and then we had lockdown. So we've got loads of knitted chicks, but we don't mind. This year we haven't raised the money, but we took trays of them here, there and everywhere, because we buy thousands. We managed to buy the chocolate eggs that go inside for 25p each. So we gave them all away. But it's quite...
There's lots of exclamations of disbelief. Wow, that's amazing, and that really is incredible work. And you're getting loads of people involved and loads of people learn about Rotary as well, I suppose, which is fantastic. Just a couple more on. Apparently, Richard Wither says there is a scheme now during COVID-19 for computers free for disadvantaged children. Something worth looking into. That's it for now. That's caught up.
Good. So getting to know what's going on in your community means, and there's lots of things. I mean, I'm inundated with Rotary stuff now, because I'm getting newsletters for humanitarian work, for community stuff, and I'm now getting the COVID updates from National. In my role as community team leader, I've taken on the role of the COVID liaison for this district. And you will have all seen, well, you will all have received an email from me saying, tell me about your project. And I'm entering them onto the RIBI interactive map, which you can see if you go onto the website. You can see the map and the projects are on there. So I've been hearing about a lot more of your projects. I've never known more about what clubs are doing than I do now. At the moment, I'm knowing a lot. A lot of clubs are donating money to their local food bank, but I rang our local food bank at the start of the lockdown before we started to work with Birchwood Centre, and they told me they had enough money at the moment. That's what we were told. The Ormskirk Food Bank had enough money. So I mean, obviously we'd have gone back to them if we hadn't got involved with providing the food in Birchwood. But you know, food banks didn't need it in our particular area, so we found another way to help. Keeping up with the work you're doing on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram is really important. And obviously there's the presidential citation. My understanding is our club has never had one of these before, because there's lots of boxes you have to tick. But I think this year you can select various things for the citation. David, am I right there? Can you just unmute David? Hello, David, are you there?
Hang on. Can't unmute him, James. You'll have to do it.
I've done it.
David.
Say that again, Sue, because I'm busy typing as well, and I can't multitask.
All right. Presidential citation, I'm saying doing community work will help you achieve that, won't it, for your club?
Absolutely. And the goalposts have been moved yet again this year, so well, this coming year. So it will be achievable for everyone. And it's not just to get the citation. It's to get you out there, to make people think differently. As I've got on here, courtesy of Phil Dyer. Just have a look at it and fill in what you can And if you achieve the citation, all well and good. But especially for the Rota kids, the Interact, the anything like that, they can achieve citations as well. Now, kids absolutely love certificates, so please encourage them when of course you can.
Thanks. You'll see that's my last slide there. So you've got my details on the very end there. And in planning this, I think it's about 6 minutes to 8, because I was given an hour to sort of talk to you. And my idea was to have any questions at the end, just any issues. James.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Sue. I'm really, I think we're really worth plugging this Rotary Showcase, because just somebody saying, where do we share ideas? And it's almost reinventing the wheel to go anywhere other than the Rotary Showcase, where we have 133 projects from our district on there. If you don't know about it, you're clearly missing out. So that's only our district. You can sort via our district. You can have a nosy at other districts. You can have a nosy globally. You can literally see any project. And I think, again, why reinvent the wheel and just post on there? It relies on clubs actually sharing their projects, and then you can collaborate that way. You know, it's quite simple to put stuff on there. And I shared the link previously. It's really unused in this district. There's 133, but obviously it's going back. A real shame. Do you hear me?
I know when I was president, I spent a long time putting projects up there, and you can collate how many hours. I know they're very keen to see how many hours we spend volunteering as well as the money we give. And I put loads of hours in with our projects when I was president.
So it's just worth pointing out, a couple of people have mentioned when you were talking about the food banks, and Heath from Liverpool South states it's obviously different in place to place, which I think is quite true. They obviously have an issue in South Liverpool with the food banks there. And Jonathan Hamilton from North Wirral Food Bank distribution has been taken over by the local authority, but the food bank is still supplying food to them, and they still need financial support. So obviously that is a bit of a problem.
Can I just come in there?
I was only saying that in our district, that's why we started to work with Birchwood, because they were doing the food deliveries from the Junk Cafe.
Can I just mention as well about what Jonathan's just put on? The financial support, of course, is very difficult with today's situation that we find ourselves in actually raising extra funds now. So if anybody's got any ideas that we can raise funds for whatever, then please let us know. And also, can I just give a huge congratulations to Jonathan, because 19 years ago today, he was ordained.
Wow.
Mm.
Yes. Congratulations, Jonathan.
Yeah, no, I think, well, we did the brain tumour quiz, the district brain tumour quiz, and that raised over £1,000. I think online is a good way of raising money at the moment. I've seen a few clubs, I think.
So can I mention something that has actually been happening during this meeting? And I'm going to show my wife up here, because she's been downstairs, she's listening to this, and it's obviously triggered something. How many people out there in their community have set up a WhatsApp group in their local community because of COVID-19? I know we have, and it's amazing how earlier on during this meeting, Maria put a message on here saying, if anyone's got any old tools that they're not using, could you please let me know, because in Rotary we're collecting them and we can take them out. We've got a project going on, blah, 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 blah. Also, if you've got any spectacles, all that sort of stuff. The amount of replies that we have had, and whilst I've been sat here, we've had 2 deliveries of tools, a set of step ladders, a pickaxe, all sorts, come to our door during this meeting. And that is how easy it is.
I did the same with our bra collection. So I put a bra bank outside my house and put on the bra bank on the WhatsApp group. Anybody's sorting out while they're locked in, please drop off the bras. And I've got bags full of those too. So there is loads you can do during lockdown. Absolutely, I've never been busier than I am at the moment in my community work.
Excellent. Can I just, there's a couple of questions come up here. This is obviously a good time to bring these things up. Simon Birchall Gunn has said, so are the coffee covers and the knitted duck branded in some way with the Rotary logo, even if this is a label?
They're not branded actually on them, but obviously all the signs are on the boxes and on the displays. They're in the way we sell the chicks is in schools and things like that, and they have a big sign saying it's for Rotary and what it's for. And I think the coffee cozies, if I remember on the photographs, they had the branding on the label that was with it.
Right, excellent. Yeah, I know that the coffee cup one does. Let me see. Wrexham Rotary. This was a great one. Jane Wedley's just put up here. Wrexham Rotary asked many local companies to donate just £50. It was their Just 50 project. Literally went to each project in the high street and said, can you give us 50 quid? And I think a lot of them, knowing Jane, gave her 50 quid just to get her to go away. But actually it raised over £2,000. And that's local companies getting to know their local Rotary club. And you know, that all that money went back into their local community. It was a brilliant project. Amit Sina says to everyone, we're a relatively new club. As a newcomer, this meeting is a huge eye-opener with brilliant ideas. With the COVID issue, we have met regularly every week on Zoom. We've had coffee mornings and held bingo meetings to collect money. That's brilliant, and it's great that a new club is using Zoom. See if there's anything else. Coffee cups do have stuff on the packaging. They're branded on the packaging, I'm told, by Julia Sale. Let me see. Plug 4 stories for Keith's next issue of Rotary Now. There you go, there's your plug. So if you've got any stories, what you've been doing in COVID-19, you know, your community projects or whatever projects, please let us know. Let's get them in the Rotary magazine so we can let everybody else know. How important is it to me as the community leader for my club to attend the other Rotary Service Lead Zoom meetings?
Information is power.
Yeah, I would say Amit Sina again. I know that you're new to Rotary, Amit Sina. This is an ideal opportunity to increase your knowledge of Rotary. They're all around about an hour long with loads and loads of information. There's no more questions at the moment.
Okay, well, we've just about done the hour slot that I was allocated. So hopefully that was okay. It was what you all wanted, and yeah, and keep in touch.
Before we go, I know that James wants to speak and also manage it. Could you unmute manage it for me?
Hi, manager.
James. Yeah, James.
Yeah. I've requested for him to unmute. He has to unmute himself.
Hello.
Pop up. Manage it.
Are you there?
You should have a pop up for you to unmute.
Well, that Proctor at the bottom of mine.
Manage it. Can you? There we go.
Yeah.
Manage it.
Hi, manager.
Hi, Sue.
Go ahead, manage it.
Right. Two things. One is the district doing anything about the court project? David Ellis's Wrap Up Lancashire. Because our club is quite interested in that project.
Yes, we are. We're looking into it at the moment. All club secretaries and presidents had an email from me. I'm really pleased because Sue Gidney's going to take this on and lead it. She's going to come onto the community team for next year and lead this. And we're in the process of looking into it at the moment. So you'll hear more about that. Yeah, we've had lots of interest.
The other thing has gone out of my mind. I was going to ask you something, but never mind.
All right. Take the other one.
I think there's another question. I know James wants to speak before we go. just to mention for Crew Rotary, they've been supporting a local charity called Hopes and Beams to cook and deliver up to 100 traditional 2-course lunches a day to people who are self-isolating. We are now in our 10th week. That's a long haul, that, so well done to Crew. There's nothing much in there. Everyone has found it very, very useful, Sue. Some lovely comments on tonight's meeting. And I think, James, over to you.